Because the worst failure in the world is regret. If you don't try something and you don't give it your all, you'll regret it for the rest of your life. But if you try something and you give it your all and you don't get the results you wanted, that's just learning. You're learning from that, right? So I said, I went in, I told her, we're going to have to sell our house on the lake. I got the stink eye from her and the kids. We're going to downsize to like 1/10 the home. Okay. We're going to let my oldest finish high school. I'm going to put all that money into the business. Stink eyes were still raised. They're like, what are you doing? You're not even getting a paycheck. You put it all in. Yeah, I'm betting on myself. And I did that. And I went in, I fired maybe half the people. I started cleaning house. I wasn't going to be held hostage. I was going to do things from the ground up again. I was going to hire people based on attitude, culture, personality, hunger, desire. I wanted people like that. I didn't care about their experience. I changed my mindset. That allowed me to grow to where 2016, we did about 14 million in sales, lost money, but I started getting a paycheck in November of 16, right? It's 22 months later. I'm like, yay, I'm getting a paycheck. It's all right. 2017, we did about 40 million in sales. 2018, 105, 2019, 185, 2020, 385. We're on pace this year for 750 million in sales. We have 2,400 employees. 2,400 employees, right? Had I quit on them and I didn't double down and bet on myself, they wouldn't have that job. We wouldn't have changed that many lives. You got to love what you do. And when my whole theory of scared money don't make money, if you're willing to bet everything every single day on yourself, then people will follow you and do that as well. But if you don't have the confidence or the backbone to put everything you've got on yourself, you can't expect other people to follow you. You can't be a leader. Real leaders bring their all every day. And their team sees that, respect that, and then they follow them into the fire because they know that they're going to give everything. It's not going to be half, but it's going to be 110% effort. You can't fake work ethic. You can't fake desire and hunger. You can't fake that stuff. And team members that work for people, they see it. Right? I see people all the time that I look up to, mentors that I learn from, people I aspire to be like in a good way. That's not jealousy. That's good envy. That's desire. That's like, I want to learn. I want to follow certain people into the fires, right? In order to do that, you got to have that confidence to show you're willing to bet everything on yourself. Brings me to the next chapter is failure leads to learning, right? Leads to wins. And when you fail, I talked about it a little bit ago, you learn from it. And when you set your goals and you don't hit your goals, but you still made an effort, you didn't lose. You learned. 2015, I was learning. I'd like to say I was losing. I lost money, but I was learning what to do, what not to do, how to get through it. How do I bypass this? How do I get the right people to hire? How do I efficiently scale my business? How do I be a better leader? There was times early in my career where I struggled to get up and do a sales meeting. I was like, and I was doing that all the time. And I remember like, man, I'm not very good at this. Well, I need progress, right? Not perfection. I got to get better every single time. And I got to get people to believe in what I believe in to follow me through there. And the only way I can do that is failing. Because if you just win all the time, what did you learn? You didn't learn anything. It's easy. You actually get bored. But if you struggle a little bit, you fail a little bit, you learn. You gain knowledge, experience. You know how to deal with bigger problems later because you've already been dealing with problems. Now, I know a lot of people, especially single moms, that's tough as hell. Raising a kid, trying to work, doing all those things. But do you know why you get better every day? Because you're gaining progress, because you've been doing it, because you've been struggling through it. Because it becomes the norm. When you make excuses and say, I can't do something because of this, you didn't learn anything. You are a failure because you quit. You're going to have regret. But if you're like, I'm not going to let that dictate it. I'm going to stay forward. I'm going to continue to grind. I'm going to do me. And yeah, I'm going to have bumps. It's a roller coaster. But that's okay. You're going to learn from those bumps. It makes you stronger and better. I can tell you that I'm a heck of a lot better parent at 40 than I was at 20. I sucked at 20, but I learned, and I failed, but I learned from my failures, which makes me a better parent now. My 23-year-old's like, this ain't fair. Like, you and mom are so much better with Christian in London. It's not fair. Life's not fair. That's what I tell her. Life's not fair. So get ready. It's not. Never will be. It's not. We've gotten better with experience and learning from our failures. It's a fact. And I think that's why people are better grandparents than parents, because they're more wise. They have more knowledge. They have more patience, right? It's a different kind of love. If you've got grandkids, it's like, oh, I love you so much. And I don't have to take care of you or deal with your crap. Here, go see your mom or dad. Like, fantastic. It's exciting because you don't have to be upset or disappointed. Sometimes we get disappointed in our kids. It's normal. You don't get disappointed in grandkids. Like, at least I haven't. Like, they act up. I'm like laughing, like, glad she gets that. But failure leads to learning and winning. It's very important that you understand that you're not really failing if you're trying. Had I not continued to press through in 2016, I wouldn't be standing here today. I wouldn't have had this top podcast, a book, 2,400 employees. We're trying to take the company public. All these things we'd be doing if I just quit and went home, took my ball and went home. I think about that. Like, I had to go through those struggles. I had to fight through those and learn from them. I wouldn't be as good as a business leader as I am today if I didn't have a bunch of struggles to get better. I didn't go to college. I didn't finish high school. And it used to intimidate me when that happened. I used to feel insecure about that. I used to have people I hire that were way more educated than me, could speak a heck of a lot better than I could. And I used to be intimidated early in my career, like, I don't know, the guy's smarter than me. How my boss, like, it was tough. But then I had to realize, like, they work for me. They believe in me. I can't let them down. I have to be the leader they want me to be. I have to step up and learn from my failures and get better. I have to gain confidence. And I want to live with zero regrets. You never want to regret something. You always hear those people, oh, I wish I would have done this. I should have tried that. You don't want to be 60 or 70 years old and look back and go, oh, I should have done things differently. You know, I learned from David Meltzer. He's a coach of mine. He always says, we're talking about failure leads to winning and things like that. He says, listen, if you were going to die today, are you happy with what you did yesterday? And I thought about it and I'm like, no. He's like, then you're not doing what you need to continue to do more every day. Because if you're satisfied, you're lying to yourself. You're accepting the norm. But if you're not satisfied and you want to do more, then that drive will continue to drive you, and you'll continue to be a leader, and you'll continue to fail, which will only give you more experience. Which leads me to the next one, which is love your haters. So fast forward, I've got 4 kids, had a partial relationship with my mother-in-law. Things were a little better, never really had a conversation at the time where it was like, let's talk about what happened years ago, 20 years ago. But if you don't ever forgive anybody, you're only hurting yourself. That's fact, right? If you hold on to something, you're wasting your good energy on bad things. And I don't ever want to give somebody that, especially someone I might not like very much. I don't want to give them any part of my good energy ever. Well, I told you, I closed down the home security company and I opened up the solar company and I stuck all my money in it. And in 2016, we sold the house and we put that money into it. Liz's mom, Tish, said, hey, I'd like to invest in your guys' business. And Liz came to me, he's like, hey, my mom wants to invest. I was like, hell no. I don't want her money. I'd rather die. I don't want her money. I'd rather get hit by a bus. Not happening. No way in hell. I've built my whole life on trying to fly her private and prove a point, use my black Amex. I got dinner. Mr. Trailer Park's got it. Don't worry. I built my whole life on that. I wasn't gonna give into that. I was like, hell no. She's like, well, she just wants to invest. It's not a big deal. I'm like, we don't need her money. We just put over $1 million in the business. We're going to find a way to make this work. I don't want her money. So I go back to my business partner. I'm like, hey man, this is going to crack you up. Tish wants to invest in the business. He goes, that's a good idea. I said, good idea? What are you talking about? He's like, what better way to get your biggest hater on than make her money? I said, but I don't want to use her money. He's like, well, then we shouldn't. So we went to her, took $100 grand. I just put over almost 2 million back into the business. So took $100 grand. We created an account and never touched it, ever. I'm glad to say 2019, we made her a millionaire and bought her out. How about that? Now, what better way than to love your haters by giving back to them and making them fans? I love when people are like, man, you can't do that, Jayson. And then They're like, oh, you did such a great job. I'd like to join the team. I love that stuff. That's the sick part about me. People are like, I got to find the badness of you. I love to prove people wrong, and I love haters. I want more of them. I want them to keep talking trash. I've got competitors that put billboards up that say there's enough Jaysons in the world, be a Matt. Like straight up. I'm like, I love it. My family's like, that's upsetting. I'm like, not me. It's flattering. It means they're watching. Because if you have haters paying attention to you, they're not paying attention to themselves and they're not growing. So my advice to you is tell them to get their popcorn, soda, and licorice and put on a show for them. And you continue to grow and they watch. Because there's so many haters out there, and haters come in all different sizes. Family, friends, best friends, siblings, peers. They're out there and they find reasons to bring you down. And I believe there's 3 categories that we fall in all the time, different times of our life, career, everything. Category 1, that's where I'm at now, right? I've been in all 3, so I'm going to own that first. But category 1 is the believer, the doer, the passionate one, the confident one, the one who inspires and elevates others and wants to be inspired and elevate, that loves to see people successful and wants to be successful. That's category 1. Category 2 is the intimidated. Now think of Homer Simpson backing into the bushes. You know, you guys seen the meme where he's like, not me. We all know some of those in category 2. Could be a family member that they don't really hate on you, but they're intimidated about what you're doing. Therefore, they're not a big fan and they have nothing to say and they kind of back out. They feel like you've changed. You haven't changed. You're growing. They choose not to. They're intimidated, right? That doesn't make them haters. That makes them intimidated. I talked about my parents. They weren't haters. They were intimidated. That happens all the time. I've been there. I've been in spots. I talked about it where had people working for me, Ivy League degrees. I'm like, why the heck you working for me, dog? What's up? I'm confused. But then I have to realize like, oh, I don't need to be intimidated. I need to be confident. I need to elevate. I need to inspire. And category 3 is your haters. They're the ones that make excuses, point the finger, blame everyone else. Your success is their failure and their failure is your success. I've got family. My brother is like that. Love my brother. He's like that. Anything I do big, he hates himself for it. He blames himself. It's my fault that he didn't do anything. We had the same parents. We had the same 24 hours in a day. We had the same vision. Like you choose to do what you want to do. And what you do in life is yours to own. That's you did it. You can't blame other people on that. You can't make excuses and be like, that's why I wasn't successful. Because that's BS. That's the lame way out. And you're making excuses and you're in category 3. You have to own your stuff. You have to own it first. Then you have to work on it and get progress and get better. And listen, success does not mean you're rich, and it does not mean that you got some big title. Success is fulfillment. There are people that don't need to make a lot of money at all, that just do philanthropy, that are very successful because they're elevating and helping people. Whatever fills you up inside makes you successful. I know a lot of people that don't make much money at all that are much happier than a lot of people I know that make a ton of money. And that's a fact, because they know what their why is in life and they're fulfilled. And it's sad because a lot of times the more money you make, the more depressed you get. Because what are you chasing? So you got to have a why that is bigger than that. And you got to love your haters. Like that's one of I love the fuel. Like her family was like trailer park guy. I'm like, it's Thanksgiving. I'll fly them private. They can come into Michigan, put them in. I'll bring some of the football players over. We'll gloat a little bit. It's all good, right? Bring a chef. Does that work? Those are the things I want to do. Probably not the healthiest thing to do, but it made me happy. Okay. And so you got to have your why. I have a lot of whys. That was one of them, to prove people wrong. Because I've been told my whole life, there's no way. Even my own family, there's no way you can do it. Now, my family's proud of me, but I wrote a book that was like for fun. The podcast was for fun. During COVID, our company, we still stayed open. We're an essential service offering battery and storage, but we were homebound. I lived in Michigan, in the Michigan office. Troy office didn't have a corporate executive office, so I wasn't going back and forth to North Carolina. And we were on calls all day with like attorneys, state officials, health departments, you name it, everything to follow CDC guidelines, right? And I remember having an argument with the executives because it was the day after GM just took a pay cut. Their executives took a pay cut to stay open. And we have 5 executives. We have 6 now. We had 5 executives at the time. And we were on that call and we were deciding, it was late March, early April, if we were going to shut down. We're going to shut down. What are we going to do? And there was an argument that, hey, maybe we should furlough everybody. This is before the unemployment came out that was all crazy, that went to everybody. And we had 800 employees when COVID started, 800. So we weren't going to get anything anyways. But I told the team, we're not going to close. We're going to stay open and we are going to go off of payroll. And there was an argument. And I said, if you don't like it, then you're in the wrong spot. If you can't go off of payroll for 4, 5, 6 months, you shouldn't be an executive at our company. And so I put the hammer down and said, that's what we're going to do. And then I went over to almost all our offices and gave them a speech of, look, you know, fear is different with everybody. I have a daughter that has autoimmune deficiencies. I have high red blood cells. I was freaking out a little bit. Fear is with everybody. I can't dictate that. But what I can tell you is if you want to stay home, you can stay home. We'll pay you your vacation. We'll keep your benefits on and you'll be inactive. But if you want to work, if Lucy, who works in the call center, has to buy diapers and formula, she needs a place to go work, we're going to give Lucy a spot to work. If Mike, who installed solar, needed to make sure the power bill is paid, hopefully a solar bill is paid, we need to give him a place to work. And so we told them the executives are going to go off payroll. And we're going to do this to stay open for you guys. As long as customers want it, we're going to stay open. Well, that inspired sales directors that were like, I want to give some of my commission to stay open. We're like, what? And so people were giving back to other people to stay open. We had teams that would catch COVID that had to stay home. We'd pay them fully because we had the cash flow to do it because we weren't getting paid and salespeople were willing to give some of their bonuses back. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. It was like when you build culture, and when you're together as a group, and we call it Power Home Strong and family, you can do this. There's nothing stronger than that. I heard the gentleman talking earlier about 9/11 and what was going on and how it brings people together. And we try to put that in our culture at Power Home. And I see it in your guys' culture here at Fit Team. I see it. Everybody's excited for each other. Everybody's got each other's back. People want to learn from each other. There's nothing stronger than that. And to watch our sales folks do that was a game changer. When COVID, it never really ended, but now here we are, 2,400 employees. So you can see that everything just grew from there. People were so excited that they still had an opportunity. Other places that were closing, people still wanted to have a paycheck and work. We were hiring A's and B's where maybe we had some C's. Now we can go in a bigger pond to get some A's and B's, right? But we were able to do that because we stayed the course. And it was important to stay together on that. But during that process, we had a lot of haters. A lot of other solar companies, how dare you stay open? That's so irresponsible. They're out of business right now. I think it's more irresponsible to not be able to provide for your employees. We gave a choice. The next chapter I have is called Team Out. And this is the segue into teaming out. I am great at like 3 things. And I'm good at like 10 things. And then I suck at like a billion things. That's my belief, right? So what I've learned being an entrepreneur early on is I used to think I had to do everything. I got to do the books. I'm the CFO. I'm the president. I was there. I did all of it. It's my call. I do all of it. Then as the companies got bigger, it was like, I don't even know. This is a true story. I don't even know what EBITDA means. 3 years ago, I didn't know what EBITDA meant. No, it was 4 years, 2017. I didn't know what EBITDA meant. Seriously, I didn't. I didn't have to. I ran companies that did 14 million in sales or 18 million sales. And it was cash. I wasn't even GAAP. I think it's called GAAP compliant. I don't know. Whatever the CFOs know, they were all that good stuff. That wasn't me. But what I realized that if I got selfish and that if I didn't have enough humility, that I thought I was great at everything, that I would fail the people that believe in me most, the employees and my family. Because you don't have to be great at everything. In fact, that makes you bad. It means you're going to fail because there's no such thing. But I believe life and business is like a puzzle. And when you bring certain pieces together that fit in, you're able to do great things. And so I knew my roles. Like, look, I don't understand the books. We're going to hire a real CFO. And I don't understand how to build an HR and compliance department. We're going to hire a president that's got a lot of wisdom to help raise some private equity. I didn't even know what the heck private equity was. And here we are doing like 40 million in sales. And it was a cash flow nightmare because everything we sold today, we didn't make for 60 or 90 days, but we still had to pay commission. We still had to pay marketing. We still had to pay for, permitting and interconnection and structural letters. We're paying 80% of a customer, but not seeing anything till the install. So when you're selling back then 10 million a month, you're spending 8 million till you see a penny. Cash flow nightmare. So I was like, look, this is waters I'm not used to. I talked to my business partner, Kevin. I said, we got to bring somebody in smarter than us. We don't got to bring anybody in. Yeah, we do, dude. We do. Like, we're idiots. We don't know what we're doing. We're great at sales and vision, but dude, like, we don't even know what EBITDA means, dude. Like, come on, really? Yeah, you're right. So I brought on this guy, Steve Murphy, a little older. He's like 65, president. He brought him in as president, gave him an opportunity to earn some sweat equity. He came from the healthcare side, was part of mergers and acquisitions, lives here in Florida, flies up to North Carolina 3 weeks a month. Great guy, changed everything. You know, keeps us between the buoys. I learned so much from him. Yes, I'm the CEO. Yes, he works for me, but I learned from him. And that's okay. That's how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to learn from other people, whether they're up, down, left, or right in the hierarchy, it doesn't matter. We all learn from each other, and that's part of teaming out. I had enough humility and to be humble enough to say, hey, look, I'm going to get a CFO. I'm going to do this. And they're good at that. And I'm good at vision. I'm good at scaling. I'm good at inspiring. And that's it. Everything else, I'm great at those. Everything else I'm like, okay at. But I don't need to be great at everything. And neither do you. You need to be good at what you're good at and focus on that. And surround yourself with other people that complement your skill sets, that elevate you and bring you up. They don't bring you down. Because when you get brought down by people, whether you love them or you like them or their friends or their family or their peers, you're giving good energy for nothing. And you shouldn't have to do that. My last chapter is focus on the play-by-play to be the champ. Now, we talked about progress, right? Not perfection. You're going to have to dumb things down sometimes in life. I do it every day. You just got to dumb it down, meaning like, all right, simple, stupid, here we go. I'm going to advertise. I'm going to give your guys this business an example. I'm going to advertise my Fit Team stuff on my social media. And then I'm going to promote it a little bit. And I'm going to make sure that when I promote it, all these people, including friends and family, they're going to get upset. And they're going to be like, why are you doing this so much? And they're going to get annoyed. And you're going to feel a little weird. I've been there. I mean, I was like doing lives in 15 when it wasn't even cool. I was like, Jayson Waller here live from Power Home Solar. No, I didn't even know what I was doing. It was like 14 views. But I felt like an idiot sometimes, right? But I'm like, you know what? I got to build the brand. It's bigger than me. You got to build your brand. It's bigger than you. It's not about what your friends or family think. You want to bother them. You want to market yourself so much that they are annoyed and you're reaching other people you would have never hit. Because that's how you grow it. You can't grow something if you're not putting yourself out there. So you can't let people around you be like, look, Mike, I'm kind of sick of seeing your stuff, man. Like, that's all you're doing. Well, then maybe you should buy some. Okay? You're sick of it, buy it. If not, block me. But I got things to do, right? I'm not waiting on you because it's funny. I would be boosting and posting all these crazy things as we were growing. And I remember some of the people that were peers in the alarm business with me, like, solar's never going to be anything. And they would be hating. And now they work for me. Or they're dealers for me, right? I'm like, this is great. But you have to know that it's progress, that it's okay to rub people the wrong way and feel dumb sometimes because you're doing something or uncomfortable, I like to use, right? It's uncomfortable to be out there. Like, we changed our brand to kind of be my face, which I hated. We were like, we're going to put billboards up. I'm like, really? Yeah, you got this. Now, my hair's not white right now, but it's like white hair and doing all this. I'm like, we had Morgan Freeman hired for our commercials. 2019, we had Morgan Freeman hired. We're going to spend $5 million a year. Our marketing company that we hired, Sussman Agency out of Detroit. Alan Sussman, who's a genius, goes, Jayson, can you explain to me how solar works? I'm like, yeah, like the sun beats down on the panels. It converts the energy. You use it first. Any extra, you fill up your battery. After that, you can use it at night. If not, it goes out to the grid. Your meter goes backwards. You make money. Bam. Right? That's what I said. He said, dude, we're not putting Morgan Freeman on TV. We're putting you on TV. I'm like, no, I don't want to be on TV. I'm good. It's like, no, we're going to put you on TV. I said, dude, I'm good. Like, I did some lives and stuff early on. Like, felt a little uncomfortable. Douched out a little bit. I felt like this isn't the right thing to do. People were looking at me weird. I don't know if I should do this. No, really, it'd be fine. I'm like, well, let's talk to the team. I don't want to be oh, look at that guy on the face of everything. That kind of rubs me the wrong way. So we bring the team in. We talk about how we're going to do it. And they brought up a Coca-Cola commercial that was playing a Cyndi Lauper song, True Colors. And they're like, we're going to get you an anthem. I'm like, we're getting True Colors? No. I'm like, oh, we're getting Cyndi Lauper? No. Oh, What are we doing? They're like, have you heard of the Detroit Youth Choir? I said, at the time, November 2019, no. They're on America's Got Talent. They were #2, Detroit Youth Choir. They're all over TV. I said, oh, I think I heard of them. Yeah. He said, we want to hire them and put them on a stage at the Fox Theater. And we're going to get this song called Let the Sun Shine In. We're going to have you walking out there being the face of solar. And I'm like, I don't know. He's like, trust me. He said, if you had one sale left to stay open and provide for your family, who do you want in that house? I said, me. Then you got to be in 23 million houses. Okay. So we tried it. So the brand kind of changed, but it grew because a brand can't just be a logo. It can if you're Coca-Cola, but really, like, think of Apple. They got Steve Jobs. Tesla, they got Elon Musk. The pillow guys got Mike the crazy pillow guy, right? Jolly Green Giant, green beans. You got a face. This is what they sold me on. You got to have a face that people trust with the brand. You can't just promote Fit Team. You've got to promote yourself so they trust you with the brand. That's how this works. And it's progress. You start by a little bit, and then a little bit more, and then a little bit more. And all of a sudden it elevates to where it's like, that's the norm. And you're just driving business to your stuff. But you got to start somewhere. And you can't feel uncomfortable, because as long as you're making progress every day, that 1% more, you'll make a difference in your life. Things will change for the better. Now, I'm gonna close out by saying this. I'm a salesperson first, operations person second. So I respect and love salespeople. Like, that's my giddy up. You know, I love to do pitches. I love to overcome objections. I love for people to be confident. I would ask, well, two things. One, make sure you check out the podcast. Two, if you want to check out the book, I've got a special thing. You go to oypbook.com to reserve it, and I'll get you How to Build a $1 Billion Business workshop that I'm going to do in January with some big people that are going to be a part of that. But what I want to leave you with is this. Sometimes it's going to be gray outside and it's going to be hard. Sometimes you're going to feel uncomfortable. Sometimes the numbers aren't there. Sometimes you're going to beat yourself up. Sometimes you're going to hold yourself accountable and be bothered of the results. But that's all part of your growth. You have to stay the course. If you believe in something and you're confident about something, sky is the limit. Don't cap yourself. Don't limit yourself to what you can do because of what people say, because of the feeling uncomfortable, because people are seeing you brand yourself, promote yourself. They are falling in category 2 and 3 for a reason, because they're not doing what you're doing and they're jealous in somehow, way, or fashion. Why are you doing that? If somebody was happy for you, they'd be like, Steve, I love your ads all the time. I buy some of it, but I love it. That's someone in category 1 that's going to elevate you. But someone who's complaining and nagging, get away from them. You're here for you and your family. You're not here for other people. You don't answer to other people. This is your map. This is your life. The book is called Own Your Power, because it's time for you to own your power and take it to the next level with Fit Team and continue to grow your business. Can I get a bam?